What's going on, everybody? My name is Blake with the Linux Fraud, and today we are going to be checking out Qtile. Well, we're not specifically checking out Qtile, I'm just using it for an example. Today I'm going to show you how to set up a window manager within like 10 minutes. It won't take long. One of the quote-unquote cons, as a lot of people say when they talk down about tiling window managers, is that they take forever to configure, which generally is the case. It does take, a few hours, maybe a few days, or upwards of a couple of weeks to really get a tiling window manager set up to how you like it. But this video is going to show you how to get one set up very quickly. You don't even have to open a config file, which I know sounds crazy. But yeah, we're just going to jump right into it. A couple prerequisites is that you do have to be using an Arch-based distribution. So if you wanted to try this out, you could, whip up a VM if you're not already on an Arch-based distribution. You could whip up a VM and try it out for yourself. So that's the first prerequisite. The second prerequisite is that you have to install KDE. So as you can see here, I've got the Plasma edition of Endeavor OS. I will explain later why you need KDE. It has to do with the theming. But you will want KDE installed as well. I've tried it like with GNOME. I haven't tried it with XFCE or anything like that, but GNOME, it just doesn't really work well. The theming doesn't port over as well as it does with KDE, so that's why I recommend having KDE also installed. So the first thing that we're going to do is open up Firefox. We're actually going to be using a script which allows us access to the Arco Linux repos. We need access to those repos so that we can install an application. The application is called Arch Linux Tweak Tool. We'll see that here in a second. So first thing that you're going to do is go over to arcolinux.info. And once you're there, go ahead, scroll all the way down until you see this tab, this Arco Linux Spices application. So click on that. And this right here, we're going to clone this repo. So go ahead, open console. So I like to make a directory called like git or repos in this case. So we're going to cd into repos, and then we're just going to copy and paste this into the terminal. We're going to clone that repo, and as soon as that's done, you can see now there is an Arco Linux Spices directory. We're going to cd into that. If you do another ls, you can see that there's a few scripts, but then there's also a user directory that we're going to cd into. If you do an ls on that, you can see there's a bin and share. Bin is binary, but we're going to cd into the share directory. Again, there's applications or Arco Linux Spices. Go ahead and cd into Arco Linux Spices. One more time, we're going to cd into scripts. If you do an ls here, you can see that there is a shell script named get the keys and repos. So we're just going to do a period / and you can hit tab and it will fill out the rest for you there. You're going to put your password in. Alright, now you're pretty much all set up. Go ahead and cd, you can clear that out. Now what you're going to want to do is run an update, sudo pacman syu. Now you can see there, but we do have access to 3 Arco Linux repos. What you're going to do now, you can actually exit out of Firefox. We'll make that full screen. So what we're going to do is do a sudo pacman -s arch linux -tweak -tool -git. So you're going to want to run that. Hit enter for yes. It's just going to install a few things. Alright, so now that that is all installed, we are going to exit out of here, exit out of the terminal. Now you can go to your menu and you're going to search Arch Linux. As you start typing it, it'll pop up. It's the Arch Linux Tweak Tool. Put your password in again. Now what this is, it's an application that I'm pretty sure, so Arco Linux is maintained by a guy named Eric Dubois, and he puts in, from what it seems like, a lot of effort into his distribution. It's basically like a learning distribution, basically a way to learn Arch without jumping directly into Arch. So there's a bunch of different things, but really the only thing that we want in here is right here, this tab, it says desktop. And then right here, if you pull down this menu, you can see there are a bunch of different tiling window managers. I don't know, I haven't used all of these. Qtile is the one that I usually use, so that's what we're going to check out today. But you can go ahead and install any of these if you want. Like there's i3, there's DWM, there's Xmonad, there's a bunch of them. And the cool thing with this is that it gives you a pre-configured and a working window manager right out of the box. And I think that's really great for beginners, someone who doesn't want to spend a lot of time configuring their own window manager. Or maybe they want to, but they just can't figure it out. This gives them a very good foundation to start with. And then you can just build on from there. So we're going to check out Qtile. I'm going to go here and select that, hit install. It'll just take a few seconds to install. Alright, so from here, Qtile is now installed on the system. You can exit out of here, but we're not going to log out just yet. We're going to go down here to System Settings. Now this is where the theming comes into play. Whatever theme you set on KDE will port over to your window manager. So for instance, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to install the Nord theme, this Nordic KDE. I'm going to hit install. Alright, now you can see that it's installed. We're going to hit use. It's going to turn everything into the Nordic theme. Now all these options on the left, they really are more pertaining to Plasma itself, except for two of them, the icons and the cursors. I do like to change. I'll go down here, get new icons. I like the Tele circle icon. Go ahead and pick that one. And then we're good to go. Actually, you know what? One more thing that I like to do, back to appearance. Go to colors. I like to use the Nordic darker theme. And then also up here, the custom colors, I like to throw in one from the Nord theme. We'll apply. And that's just like accent colors and whatnot. Alright, now you can exit out of that. If you log out of here, we can now go to Qtile, or whatever window manager you decided on. Now I do want to say that SDDM will get reverted to like the vanilla SDDM. You can of course change that again within the Plasma settings. We're going to go up here, click on Qtile, enter our password, and now we have straight out of the box a working and configured Qtile, or whatever window manager you decided to pick. Now I am going to install nitrogen for backgrounds. Usually I use Fe, but for some reason I have a problem with virtual machines. This is obviously a virtual machine. I have a problem with Fe where when you set the background, for some reason it with the resolution and everything, it just gets a little wonky. So on VMs I like to use nitrogen. And we're also going to use xrandr. Oops. See, this is what I mean. See, now you can see that the background is kind of messed up. It's not full. So I like to go into nitrogen. You know what? Let's pick a different background. Let's go to good old Reddit. We're going to search wallpapers here really quick. This doesn't really have anything to do with the tutorial. But if you didn't know about this, you can find some pretty cool wallpapers here on Reddit. Or maybe not. Alright. We're going to go here, nitrogen, go to preferences, add. I'm going to add the downloads folder. Usually I don't keep my wallpapers in the downloads, of course, but just for this VM we are. We'll select that, apply. And now we have a decent wallpaper. And just like that, you literally have, within not even 10 minutes, we have a window manager that's up and running, that's working, and it's pre-configured right out of the box. And we didn't even touch a config file. That's the really cool thing. Now, I'm a nerd. I love messing with config files, but I just think this is a really good way for beginners to get into window managers. And Eric Dubois with Arco Linux, I think, has put in a lot of work with that Arch Linux tweak tool. I think it's a really cool concept and a very cool thing that he did. It lowers the bar of entry for beginners when it comes to tiling window managers, right? I think this is a really great way for people to get into window managers if they want to. And that's pretty much it. I know this wasn't a super long video, and that wasn't the point of it. Hopefully it was pretty direct, pretty straightforward. I just wanted to show you how to actually get a window manager up and running very quickly. I think this is a great way to do it. And of course, from here, you can go into your config directory. You're going to go to Qtile or whatever window manager it was, and then you have everything here. Now, there's a lot of stuff in this Qtile directory that you really don't need. All you need really is like the config.py. You don't need the azerty or the qwerty.py configs unless you are using those types of keyboards. So you can go in here and you can mess around with everything. You can open the config file, and you can play around with everything. They have Arco battery, which is just a little battery widget that will be up here on your bar. You can uncomment that and use it. Obviously, you would need to know a little Python to go around and hack on this config. You don't need to be a Python programmer to hack on this. Qtile is just the window manager that I mainly use. I've tried some other ones. Qtile is just kind of where I fell into, and I really haven't used any other window manager as extensively as Qtile, so that's just the one I'm more comfortable in. There was like 20 different window managers that you could choose from, right? So just pick one of those, jump into it, and start learning. And just in case you wanted to see it, this is my Qtile configuration. This is how I have mine set up. So that's how I have my Qtile set up. It's fairly simple, straight to the point. That's how I like it. You can turn the pre-configured window manager basically into whatever you want. So yeah, so that was the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from it. And if you are just trying to get into window managers, I really hope that this is helpful for you. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and hit that thumbs up if you did enjoy it. And stick around because we have a bunch more content coming your way.